Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. We are in the beautiful Sunset City, St. Mark, our second stop on the national budget consultation. So we're going parish by parish throughout the entire state of Grenada. And we are very grateful for those of you who have joined us, braved the weather this evening, and made it a priority to be here. We unfortunately will not be joined by Senator Quince Britton, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy. Unfortunately, he is on national duties as we speak. Nonetheless, we are here to hear from you, the residents of St. Mark. Those of you joining us online, feel free to chime in as well. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin, as we do with all things, with prayer. So I invite you all to stand as we get ready for a word of prayer. Our prayer this evening will be delivered by Ms. Nikisha MacDonald. She's in the communications unit at the Ministry of Finance. Ms. MacDonald.
Dear Heavenly Father, I would like to thank you for allowing us to reach here safely despite the weather outside. I'm hoping that you have a interesting and interactive budget consultation and wishing us a great budget consultation going forward. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ms. MacDonald. Please remain standing. Please remain standing. We have paid homage to God. We will now pay homage to our country. So we'll now have the national anthem.
Hail Grenada, land of us, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny. Ever conscious of God, being proud of our heritage. May we with faith and courage aspire, build, advance as one people, one family. God bless our nation.
Thank you very much. You may now be seated. So, ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the budget consultation tour as it is. We're heading to St. John tomorrow, but this evening we're here in, as I mentioned, beautiful St. Mark, and we're looking forward to a rich discussion this evening. We will be following our chat online for those of you who are joining us via our social media pages, and so feel free to drop your suggestions, your comments, your contributions in the chat as well. Without further ado, we're going to get right on into it. Our first presentation, the first of two presentations this evening, will be delivered by Mr. Rion Roberts. He's a budget officer within the budget unit at the Ministry of Finance, and he'll be tasked with helping us understand a bit more about the budget and the consultation process. So at this juncture, please put your hands together and help me welcome Mr. Roberts.
Pleasant good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would just like to thank you all for coming out despite the weather conditions and conditions outside. I would just like to say thank you for coming. It means a lot to us. and we would be happy to hear from you. Today, I'll be presenting the budget process. I will be giving you a full understanding based on what government go through when they are preparing the budget. First and foremost, I would like to define what is a budget, not alluding to y'all not knowing, but just giving you an idea, the definition we use on the inside. The budget is a financial plan that focuses expected income and allocates planned spending and saving over a specific time period to achieve a specific financial goal. Within the Ministry of Finance, we have the budget statement and the budget process. Statement being the allocation of financial resources which government will use in providing assistance and services to improve the social and economic well-being of people. And the process is a reconciliation process whereby people, ministers, members of legislation, public servants, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders engage in debate on various views and arrive at allocations of resources. The budget shows government projected revenue and expenditure for the financial year. Revenues is derived from tax, duties, fees, grants, loan, etc. And expenditure, and both current and recurrent and capital expenditure. The projected expenditures the government have is wages, debts, projects to improve quality of lives, etc. So when the budget statement comes together as a whole, we have the statements of revenue and the statements of expenditure. When we compare both, that will give us information as into whether the government is operating at a surplus or at a deficit. The big picture. Now, every year we go through the budget process, but not every year is individual. So we have a holistic plan. Let's say, for example, the NSDP plan that runs from 2020 to 2025. So every year government is operating within the parameters of the holistic goal and the vision for the country. That's how we come up with the budget on a year-to-year basis. Understanding the budget as a process. First and foremost, I would like to highlight that the budget is governed by a body of rules. We don't operate out of the blue. There is rules and regulations that we have to follow throughout the budget process. Some of those rules are the Public Finance Management Act. Public Finance Management Act is a law designed to ensure the proper and efficient management of the public money, property, and other resources owned by government. The Fiscal Policy Act is a rule-based framework including specific rules and targets to ensure that government finances are sustainable and consistent with debt-serving capacity. Procurement, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act establishes the framework of how government and the public, establish the framework for how the government and the public entities acquire goods, works, services, and how they dispose of government assets. No, the government cannot just, if we have a vehicle that they want to get rid of, they don't just get rid of it. There is a process in which they go through within the parameters of the Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act. Of course, there are some other supporting laws that goes along throughout the budget process. Phase 1. This is the preparation stage. This is where the policy unit within the Ministry of Finance will give revenue projections by the use of a matrix which are linked to economic activities. These revenue projections will form the base of the estimate of expenditure in the coming years. Preparation of the medium-term development priorities, macroeconomic and fiscal focus. This is where we derive at the various ceilings for the different ministries. So one ministry might be spending X amount on a certain project, other ministry might have another project going on. So what I'm talking about here is the ceiling that the macroeconomic department come up with. So there's a seal where you cannot overspend on a particular item or a particular project, so to speak. After this is done, we have the preparation of the budget call circular. The budget call circular stipulates the requirement that must be followed in the preparation of the 2026 budget, 2026 national budget. It outlines the budget calendar, instruction, procedures, processes, and templates for the preparation and submission of a detailed budget estimate for each vote pertaining to revenue as well as current and capital expenditure for the year 2026 and for the 2 years for 2027, 2028. Phase 2. Now this is the stage where we at. This is the stage where we engage in stakeholder and public consultations, where we want to hear from the different stakeholders, different communities, to hear what you would want to see be done in your constituency or other ideas you may have for the country moving forward. Preparation and submission of the budget estimate by each vote, consultation with ministries and departments, and the revision and finalization of draft budget estimates. After the ministries, well, the line ministries is every other ministry outside of the Ministry of Finance. So for instance, the Ministry of Health, Infrastructure, Sports, they would all come up with their budgets, and at the budget unit, we would revise those figures and let them know whether or not they would have to cut down on a certain amount on a certain project, who might have to get more, who might have to get less, however the case may go. After this is done, presentation to Cabinet and the Finance Committee of the draft budget estimates. This must take place 2 months before the financial year ends. Then we move on to phase 3, the approval and implemental stage. After we come out in Cabinet, the presentation to Parliament of the draft budget estimates and budget speech by the Minister of Finance. Parliament would now debate the budget, and they'll come up with the approved figures and the non-approved figures. Then we would have the issue of the general warrant. Now, the general warrant is basically a document to authorize government expenditure from consolidated funds and other funds. So the warrant comes as head to disburse money to the ministries and start spending and working on the different projects. After that, we have the budget execution, and then we monitor and report on the budget throughout the financial year. So I'll give you just basically a timeline on when everything takes place. The Cabinet approval takes place in October. Then Parliamentary Finance Committee approval would take place 2 months prior to the end of the financial year. Presentation of the national budget would take place in either November or December in the given year. The House of Representatives debates and approves the budget within the same time period, November, December. Senate debates and approves the budget. Now you may see on the presentation that we have November and December for the presentation for the budget, but this year the budget was presented in March. However, due to unforeseen circumstances such as burial 2024 in July, that would have pushed government's hand to focus on their allocations, might have to do a supplementary budget, or come up with a plan on how we develop and move forward after such unforeseen, unfortunate circumstances would have taken place on the island. And I would explain to you what the budget unit responsibility is within this whole process. The budget unit coordinates and manages the development of the annual estimates of revenue and expenditure and supplementary budget. The unit ensures that the budget calendar is kept. In other words, everything is done on time, when it's supposed to be done, how it's supposed to be done. Advises the government on financial implications of the budget proposals and issues arising from its implementation. On approval of the budget by Parliament, the budget unit monitors and On approval by Parliament, the budget unit monitors the implementation and execution of the budget. In conclusion, I would like to leave this statement with you. The budget is the most important public policy tool of government, and its preparation must be done with utmost integrity and seriousness. It is the most important business of the government and, by extension, the state of Grenada. Therefore, the budget must be carefully formulated, which means your suggestions and ideas are vital to help the ministries and the state agency prepare plans and submissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Very succinct presentation of the process. We have a better understanding now of how and the entire budget process. So as I mentioned, we are currently at phase 2, the consultation phase. So that's why we're here, that's why we're coming to you. It's a process. So from time to time, the budget unit will be meeting with the various ministries, and so there's quite a bit of work that the budget unit will be engaged in as we move closer towards the end of the year. So again, thank you very much, Mr. Roberts, for your presentation. So now that we have an idea of the budget and how the budget itself works, we want to get a sense of where we are as a nation, as a country, because we're going to ask you this evening to give us suggestions as to what you would like to see the government do in the year 2026 with the finances that they will allocate for next year's sets of projects and priorities. But for you to make those suggestions, you need to know what we have, where we stand, and what next year could possibly look like. And to do that, we're going to welcome Mr. Atkinson Kador. He's a policy analyst in the policy unit at the Ministry of Finance, and he's going to share on the state of our economy. Mr. Kador.
Right, good night, everyone. Now, before I present on the state of the economy, I have to say, despite the weather, thank you all for coming out. You know, as we see in the Caribbean, the only thing rain could stop is a cricket match, right? Well, my colleague, Mr. Roberts, one point he made was that in the budgeting process, we meet with the stakeholders, right? So hence, we are here to meet with you all, to give feedback and so on. But I am here to present from a macroeconomic point of view. Right. Now, there's an acronym I like to use, FUBU, F-U-B-U. Normally means for us, by us. Or we can tweak it to say for you, by you. Now, we are here to present the budget, but really, it's your budget. You know, we are just the technocrats, you know, punching the numbers and so on. But all that is done here is for you. So in my presentation, I will speak on international and regional developments, the 2025 macroeconomic framework, 2025 fiscal performance, downside risks to the macroeconomic context, and give key takeaways. Now, international and regional developments. Now, we'll start by analyzing the development internationally and regionally. As the saying goes, right, when the first world sneezes, we catch a cold. So we must look at how the international market and the regional markets operate so we can know how we are affected and how we can make certain decisions. Right. Now, in terms of international development, advanced economies are projected to have weak growth prospects over the medium term, whereas emerging markets and developing economies are projected to have stronger growth that will be broadly stable. As we all may know, the current economic outlook is characterized as one of high uncertainty and insecurity due to geopolitical tensions. As you know, the Ukraine-Russia war, and you have the Middle East with Israel, Palestine, etc. Right? And as such, global growth is projected to be a mild 3% in 2025 and experience a modest increase of 1% in 2026. Now, with regards to regional developments, now, due to the rebuilding efforts and increased activity in key sectors, Grenada's output is projected to be 4.2% in 2025, with regional growth projected to accelerate in 2026, with an average ECCU growth of 3.5% and an average CARICOM growth of 3.3%. Now, the 2025 macroeconomic framework. Now, here we'll look at real sector developments. And when I say real sector developments, I mean our sectors such as agriculture, construction, fishing, and so on. The sectors that keeps the economy moving, right? Over the first 3 months of the year, and that period will be from January to March in some cases and January to May in certain cases, right? Now, economic activity in Grenada has shown notable recovery in the recent months as rebuilding efforts continue and economic momentum strengthens. On July 1st, 2024, Hurricane Beryl struck the Tri-Island state, causing significant economic and social setbacks that extended into 2025. Despite these economic challenges, key sectors such as construction, manufacturing, and transport have shown resilience. Now, with agriculture. In just over 8 months of the impact of Hurricane Beryl, the agricultural sector continues to demonstrate the tremendous impact of that hurricane. As of January to March 2025, nutmeg production totaled 83,086 pounds, a 77.7% decline from the same period in 2024. Now, based on the diagram here, we can see that nutmeg, maize, cocoa, and many crops, we see a decline. But when it comes to banana, there's an increase. Now, besides from the impact of Hurricane Beryl, Grenada has seen high levels of rainfall during the traditional dry season. Now, following the same pattern, there has been a reduction in production of, as I said, cocoa production and so on, right? Now, but in contrast, banana production has seen an increase of 1.6% in production from the first quarter of 2025. At the end of March 2025, Grenada recorded banana production of 1,405,362 pounds compared to 1.3 million pounds last year. Now, while these declines in crop production represent evidence of a weak sectoral growth, it is anticipated that with improved weather patterns, production will improve as crops strengthen. Now we have to remember, nutmeg and cocoa and so on, they are not as banana where when you plant nutmeg today, we expect it to produce in a few months or a year time. They will continue production maybe 3 to 4 years. So in that time, we will see the increase in production. So it's more, you will see an increase more, as I should say, in the long run. Now, fish production. As at the end of March 2025, the production of fish increased by 13,227.6 pounds from the end of March 2024, a modest uptick of 1%, representing positive projections of growth for the rest of 2025. As such, projections remain positive with a 3.2% growth on average for the medium term. At the end of March 2025, fish exports totaled 219,874 pounds, compared to 217,481 pounds at the end of March 2024, representing a slight increase of 1.1% for the first quarter of 2025. Construction and mining. Growth continues within the construction sector, as many houses and businesses are being rebuilt, as well as new innovative projects are being constructed, such as Project 500. The sector's performance from the last quarter of 2024 into the first 3 months of 2025 has seen decent growth, primarily due to the impact of Hurricane Beryl on the country. At the end of March 2025, imports of construction materials totaled 79.4 million, a 35.1% increase from the 44.4 million that we recorded at the end of March 2024. Now, in addition, this sector's activity continues in the retail industry. As retail sales of construction materials continue to hold numbers, there has been a decline of 30%. However, recent surveillance reports indicate that this decline is primarily due to the direct purchase of construction materials, and is not an indicator of decline in the sector. So basically, what it's saying is, we may see, so instead of going to the regular hardware, people are buying materials directly from overseas and importing the materials, right? Hence, you see the increase in imports, but we see a decline in the retail sales, but that is just on the local front, the domestic front, right? Mining and quarrying have also seen a 10% increase from the same period of 2024. The expansion of hotels, the rebuilding of homes and business impacted by Hurricane Beryl, along with government's ongoing Build Back Better initiative and efforts to transform healthcare for citizens, are expected to boost activity within the sector in the short term and the medium term. Now, tourism. As the table shows, stayover arrival experienced tremendous declines in the majority of the countries, resulting in an overall of 12.5% decline in total stayover arrivals at the end of May 2025, decreasing from 88,749 in 2024 to 77,520 at the end of May 2025. At the end of May 2025, Europe experienced the strongest decline of 27.4%, with Canada also having a sharp decline of 18.3%. Now, it is a bit hurting to highlight that Caribbean arrivals have also declined by 16.6%, which is due to high airline costs and limited direct flights. But on the other hand, cruise arrivals have seen a drastic increase of 17.2%, and this helped the sector tremendously. Now, with regards to the stayover arrivals, we have to remember last year around the same period, we had the Carifta Games, we had our big 50th anniversary celebrations and so on. So this had an uptick in stayover arrivals last year as compared to this year, right? But as I said, but this report is from like the January to May, 2025. But as we know, we recently had Carnival, which we saw a good uptick of people. We also had the Africa and Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum active, which recorded 2,106 international and regional delegates from over 80 countries in July. So, and then with the winter season coming, we see a shift in these numbers for the remainder of the year. So when we are reporting our annual report for 2025, you will see this, most likely you will see that we perform better in the 2025 period in comparison to 2024 for the remainder of the year. And then also going forward for 2026, we also have to keep in mind that Carifta will be back here again. Wholesale and retail trade. This sector continues to show promising recovery from Hurricane Beryl, strengthened primarily by the retail sales, which exclude building materials. This subsection within the sector grew by 25.7% within the first 3 months of 2025. Now, as stated in the construction sector review, there has been a growing development of direct purchase of construction materials instead of purchase from local retailers. As a result, retail sales of building supplies declined. At the end of March 2025, retail sales totaled $70.8 million, representing a 13.3% increase compared to EC's $62.5 million in the same period of 2024. Key drivers of sector performance include the retail sales excluding building materials, household items, agricultural produce, food items, and vehicles. Transportation and storage sector. Grenada's transport and storage sector is showing favorable growth in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024. A key driver of this expansion is the increase in overall cargo movement. Sorry for that. Right. Now, notably, inbound cargo reached 213 tons by the end of the Southern St. George Water Expansion Project has started. Right, so I guess you may see on the RGPS page and so on where they have traffic arrangements in the south of the island. Now, once this project fully rolls out, a lot of grants will be spending, and then in the later reports of the year, the June, July, August reports and so on, you will see a ton in the grant figure. So don't be alarmed by the deficit from January to May. Going forward, and because we like to have everything available to the public, you can log into finance.gd, our website, Facebook page, and you can see all the reports on a monthly basis. The balance after grants, we projected a deficit of $44.4 million. We saw a surplus of 2.88. Overall balance, we projected a deficit of 64.6, and we recorded a deficit of $14.3 million. $50.3 million improvement. Now, although there is a negative overall balance, now in this case, it's not a bad thing. Now, as you know, due to Hurricane Beryl, the fiscal rules was relaxed. Hence, so with the fiscal rules being relaxed, we can now increase spending to help in Hurricane Beryl responses and so on. And then that suspension is going over to 2026. So all that is an effort to help build back Grenada, Carriacou, PT, Martinique, and so on from Hurricane Beryl. So in 2027, you will see us returning back to normalcy. The medium-term outlook. Now, this shows the projection of the full year performance with regards to 2025. So as you can see, total revenue and grants is expected to surpass projection by 2.1 million EC dollars. Also, we see good performances in all tax types, the tax revenue, the non-tax revenue, and so on. And total expenditure, we expect to spend $48.2 million less than projected. With capital expenditure, we should be spending roughly $0.6 million more than projected. But as the months go along and we get more actuals, these numbers are subject to change. Now, the medium-term outlook. Real GDP growth is projected to be 3.5% on average over the medium term. Based on actual data and early projections, the sectors which will experience significant growth in economic activity are the following. The construction sector, as rebuilding efforts continue, along with hotel expansions and construction, as well as advancement in Grenada's hospital. An average of 5.8% growth on average is expected for construction. Wholesale and retail sector, continued to demonstrate resilience with a 3.2 growth on average. Agriculture sector, as an anticipated growth is expected, as nutmeg, cocoa, and banana trees grow back, and government investments continue, a 2.7% growth on average will be expected over the medium term. Tourism sector, hotels and restaurants, the projections are on the moderate side due to the international and regional economic conditions currently. A 1.7% growth on average is expected. Now, the downside risks to Grenada's macroeconomic outlook. The current real sector and fiscal projections are highly dependent on the economic development of the international market. As stated earlier, there are increased reports of changing weather patterns as well as the lingering impacts of Hurricane Beryl. Therefore, this can alter the actual fiscal and the real sector results. Other global issues, such as social and political wars, fluctuations in prices, and trade policy, are a risk to Grenada's economic developments. Now, key takeaways. Real GDP growth is projected to average 3% over the medium term. Weakened fiscal performance in 2025, deficit expected to narrow in 2026, and a rebound in 2027. Temporary suspension of fiscal rules in place, full compliance targeted by 2027. Primary balance improves over the medium term, and our key risks are climate events, commodity price shocks, and external economic conditions. Now, I thank you for listening and being an obedient audience, and I'll hand it back to our chair, and then we will welcome any questions, comments, suggestions, and so on. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kador. So before we go into suggestions, if we have any questions for Mr. Kador, now would be a good time for us to pose anything to him. If there's anything that you want clarified, any term or so that did not land right, now would be a good time for us to take some of those questions. I'll leave the key takeaways slide up. I see a hand from the audience, so by all means, miss, you can come forward to the mic. I know the voice is strong, but we want those who are listening online to hear as well.
Development of my notes. Governance, foreign policy, and cost of living, but I didn't hear, you didn't introduce no key focus for this time around.
Okay.
So
All right, so two things. One, you must have been an excellent student when you were in school. A teacher. That makes a lot of sense. 40 years, congratulations. I trust that you're retired now. That's it. She said she took it early retirement. She's not old. So yes, at the budget retreat in August, that was held on the 6th of August, I believe, the MTAP was presented, and that outlined a few of government's priorities for this year. We can expect, though, that as we are in this phase, which is the consultation phase, which involves consultation with you as a public, as well as the ministries, that these would get refined over time. And the truth is, your suggestions this evening can help refine and narrow in the scope that government intends to go on over the evening. And I hope you take that as an opportunity to really help shape what's going to happen over the next few years. We heard Mr. Kador mention several times the medium term. and that refers to the years 2026 up to 2028. All right, and so even though we're here now in 2025 and we're talking about budget 2026, the outlook, the vision is not just for next year. And so this is why the consultations are important. As you mentioned, also as Mr. Roberts mentioned, the annual budget fits into that long-term plan that the government has. So in many cases, barring things like burial, which are nobody really plans for those, it just comes out of nowhere and hits us pretty hard. The government's priorities, they don't change drastically year to year. So health still remains a priority for government. I'm sure many of you have heard about Project Polaris, and the teaching hospital that's on the way. And that is evidence of the fact that health is a priority and is going to remain a priority for some time. Youth development, that's not going anywhere. As you rightfully pointed out, ma'am, you're not old, you're young still, so we're looking to develop youth nonetheless. All right, so I'm just pointing those out to say that the priorities really are not going to stray vastly from what they were last year. And we have an opportunity this evening to help shape and narrow those down as we go into 2026. Any other questions from our audience? Mr. Kado mentioned the first key takeaway, that real GDP, that's going to grow just about 3% annually over the medium term. So remember we said medium term means 2026 to 2028. So we're expecting that the economy is going to grow annually by about 3% every year from now all the way up to 2028. That's what the data is currently showing us. And when we talk GDP, we're talking about the volume of goods and services produced on the island, right? So the amount of business that's done, the volume of business activity that takes place in a given year, that's your GDP. And so if the government is projecting that this is going to grow by 3% every year for the next 3 years, then we're looking at steady increase in business over time. That's what that first key takeaway is going to tell us. And that's, Mr. Kado outlined a few of the sectors that we expect to drive that increase in economic activity. So if there are no more questions, no, we are, all right, man, I think in Sunset City it is. So question number 2?
Another question,
Yes.
suggestion. We have so much stuff importing into Grenada. We have nothing exporting. What are we really exporting? What are we exporting? I see all the containers and stuff on the port. When they come with stuff, they can't even send back the containers. The containers have been stored on the port. We have to do something about that.
Thank you very much for your suggestion, Mr. Kador.
Yes, no, I was just about to say, I totally agree. And something with our exports also, we export a lot of raw materials, and we like to see value-added products being exported. So, together with the creative industry and GIDC and so on, there'll be ways where we'll be working to train people and so on in the agro-processing and these things, and they also be able to get concessions on equipment and so on to bring in. So once you have your ideas, you can come to these various organizations and you will be assisted, because we want to see more goods out there, made in Grenada, the real authentic stuff, organic stuff, and which will also lead to a better way of life of citizens, both financially, health-wise, and everything.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cadeau. We have another question from the audience.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I paid careful attention to the number of persons coming into the country, especially, and we look at, and I heard that maybe some of the drawbacks could be not enough direct flights coming into Grenada, and the cost of flying. And I'm wondering, what can we do about that? And I hope we can do a lot about that. Because you see, when we look around, we're having more and more persons, young persons retiring. And they don't want to stay in Grenada. They would like to travel and come back. But if we do not have direct flights and the cost of flying is so high, then I will want to suggest that maybe the tourist people and other stakeholders should look seriously into this. Because I'm hearing of so many companies that have airlines in the Caribbean, but it seems they're not coming down our side. So I think this is one of my suggestions, that we should look seriously into this one.
Thank you very much, sir. We have another question from the audience.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
I almost thought I shouldn't be here, but nevertheless, I believe I live here still. I have no intention to migrate. But one of the issues that stares me straight in my face as reality is that the fishermen, I heard a fisherman said not long ago, he don't know what next to do. Government come, government go. And the fishermen seems to be battling with that kind of issues. When they have good catches, they're not getting their prizes. I thought by now that we should have something in place so that you could see something moving from here to there. Why would I pay $10 for a pound of fish? And the exporters paying, or the buyers paying the fisherman, who going out there to risk their lives, and monies like this. So it seems to me that something is not right. And I believe it's about time, because I see growth in the fishing industries. But is that real growth? I'm asking you the question, not to provoke your thoughts, but is it real growth? When the fisherman is saying to me that we are getting nowhere. When we do our fish, we get good money. When we catching more fishes, we're not getting paid adequately. And we're balancing the cost to go out there. It's not easy. I have other things to ask about. Yes, but I will leave it further down as we proceed.
Before you step off, sir, how close are you to the fishing industry? Are you a fisherman yourself?
I'm not fishing, but I eat fish.
Okay.
So,
No, that's not for a sale later, But I did want to ask you, though, what would you like to see done? Because this is the perfect forum to share some of the ideas that could potentially help.
I'll be honest. I feel that we should get into the secondary aspect. I don't want to eat canned fish, but added value. Mm-hmm. It's about time. Government come, government go. All the mango they're wasting.
Right.
Bring some Chinese and let's see if we could get the bamboo into craft. Things like that. We want to see things happening. We cannot continue with the same old thing every time or every budget consultation. We want to see things happening for the fishermen.
Right.
We want to stop hearing them saying that, I don't know what else to invest in. I'm in it already. You getting me?
I'm getting you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the response. We do have members here from the Budget and Policy Unit, and so we are taking notes that we can take back to the relevant ministries so that they can potentially factor some of these ideas and suggestions into the plans that they have. And as you raise the issues that you are facing, I want to put a question to all of you as residents of St. Mark. What place, space, what untapped, undiscovered gem is there in St. Mark that we can use to drive more growth in the island? So for instance, you mentioned getting into the value added. Is there a space perhaps that we have not yet considered that could just transform St. Mark's or Grenada on a whole if some investment is put into there? I think you know your community better than anybody at the Ministry of Finance. Awesome. Yes, sir.
What's about light manufacturing? We have enough space for this. The GCNA building on the top floor. Light manufacturing, where we can get our young people trained and being involved. I believe that this will make a big, big difference, especially with the unemployment.
Right.
Yes.
Excellent.
Now, there are other secondary issues, but for this one would really make a big dent. Light manufacturing. So I think we should encourage GIDC to look into this so that we can use that space. There's a lot of hundreds of square feet or thousands of square feet that's there. I had it for later, but as you asked the question, I bring it now.
I'll take it.
Moment rule. You know how to balance the thing. Yes, we are disadvantaged. And as I want you to sink it in and not write it. Sink it in. That jetty we saw looking at, if we want to improve the well-being of the fisherman, we've spoken about jetty. Yeah, I think it's feasible, by and large. So, note that down there, jetty for our area here.
A jetty for the area.
Yes.
Excellent. So we have light manufacturing in the GCNA building, it is, sir? And then we have the installation of a jetty. Yes, sir. Next.
Night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
This is Trevor Julian speaking. First time in a long time I don't come in the school where I start in the beginning.
It's good to have you back.
No, the body feeling kind of different. I'm happy about myself coming in the presence of the people, the presence of the eyes, you know. They're living. They're putting out some good words and listening to the good words that come forward towards the life of the people. So to my understanding on the level of life, where life develops differently on the earth in the presence of people, people who need and people who don't have, the people who could provide for some could learn and some could, get and go ahead with the process of life. Because it's a process we going through. Just give me a minute. Right. So, Grenada is an island I really love, and I see a lot what could be done in the presence of the people, and especially the need I call the poor, who don't have or who just looking out for the day to be great or get better. Because I know the struggle, because I grew up as a struggler. And I always make ways for people to learn, because I know millions are learning from me. Because of my struggle, I put out work so people could learn how to help themselves on the street by, I like to hustle, I like to do jobs, different types of jobs, because I call myself an all-rounder. Because I find ways how to help myself because of the struggle. So beyond that, I know the island is a blessed island, and a lot could be done because the economy needs it.
Yeah.
And it's growing fast. Gotta pay attention to it. For example, when I travel into the jungle, I know a lot of fruits, they chew the trees and there just be a lot. And I just watch under the trees and I just see lots of plants because the seeds stay under the tree and grow.
Right.
And it was at tracks because people just pass through you know. So all these plants and them could space out and it could be more fruits. We have more factories, different types of fruits, different types of factories, different types of foundation with different things created on the earth so the people could enjoy and learn and get to use and job created.
Right.
And the economy dwell better. Because when the day come, we have something to do. You know? I mean, I know ways of across the ocean, which is the different islands. You could walk and certain hours, you do certain work, and then you could finish and go to another job. Because it hours, they pay by the hours, a couple hours, you know? Because I do jobs of people who come out from across the ocean and they give me like $50 for just a few hours. And the amount of work I put on in that few hours, and I could go to another job because I don't feel tired. And that $50 is like, when I go to a day work like 8 to 4, I was like till Friday or till fortnight I getting paid. So by the time fortnight, I tired, I don't want to, you know?
Right.
So I just learn from all these things on them. For example, I was a hustler on the street. I could go on the street with my cart and I sell jelly, mango, key, and all kinds of things. And it gets sold.
Right.
Right. So many people learn from me by that because they could do different things. For example, I like the kitchen. When I'm in the kitchen, I'll be so happy in the kitchen. I'm singing and all. Because I'm making all kinds of things differently. I put in things like when things run out in the cupboard, I have a little piece of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And I put it together and make a meal.
Right.
And that meal is so tasty, we go on the market, people will buy it out.
So I'm hearing taking some interest in agriculture, utilizing the fruits and so that are more or less spoiling in the woods. Taking those, perhaps that idea that we had earlier about light manufacturing. So that's a good suggestion. We appreciate that. I'm also hearing that you have lots of skills, and so perhaps there's a way for us to capitalize on folks like you and allow you to invest in other people as well. So I want to thank you so much for those two suggestions. We have our note takers here. We are taking note of it, and then we can bring that to the relevant authorities, and perhaps we can make something of that. Thank you so, so much.
They're doing things to help themselves.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have another question.
So,
good
good
job.
night.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my boy.
Thanks a lot, man.
So it's suggestions we taking now.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I just want to do it.
We're reaching the suggestion section.
Okay, so all my suggestions are coming from the last budget consultation, things that we had, I tell you, I have my notes. So this time around, we would like to see in the budget for St.Mark, I think I'm speaking on behalf of the police now.
Okay.
So I think we need to pay attention to them now because I know it's taking time, they have been worked on, but I think we need to hasten up because the condition is really bad there. So I would like to see in this budget cycle that some attention is being paid to the police station. Also, from last budget consultation, somebody suggested that we have a new program for the youth. I think we need to introduce this boot camp thing. Last budget consultation, somebody suggested that. I think we have to be serious because if you notice, the youths are not getting better. So we have to have measures in place. Let them see that we're serious. We want to help them. The boot camp is to help them. So when they come from there, this place what we have up there wasting time, they just go in there and they're coming out seasoned criminals. So we'd like to introduce that.
Before you continue, is there in St.Mark that we could potentially host that boot camp at?
Well,
sorry to put you
when we reach that bridge, we'll cross that. We could find some way. We could find some way. Another suggestions from, all my suggestions are from last budget. Okay, so we the Duquesne Bay. The Duquesne Beach, that's what to Ministry of Tourism, especially the petroglycerin, so to enhance it, making it a tourism product again. And presently, to go to Rainbow Falls, we have this Rainbow Falls here. After the hurricane, there's no access. So we're We'd like to see in the budget that some funds be allocated to clear it up and to make it accessible again, because we're missing our tourists and they made us to come like every day. Persons here get a little pittance to go show them the trail. So we need something like that. We need in the budget this time around that we get money to clear that. Also, the continuation of the road from Castile to Rissus. That's an alternative road that we have. It started, but it's not complete. In case of emergency, we can use that road. And last but not least, an upgrade of the fish market. Fish and vegetable market. I don't think it's fair to the people to be outside just selling on, and the building is not that wholesome. So we like to see something in the budget this time around. That's my contribution. Have a good night.
Thank you so very much for sharing. We really appreciate it.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
St.Mark has got so much resources and it's untapped. The lady, Fossil over here, the beautiful lady, talked about the Rainbow Falls. I'm also going to say Tufton Hall. What I'm saying here is that St. Mark is ignored, neglected, but we've got resources. So we would need to have, like in Tufton Hall, there was no changing rooms, there was no toilets, there was no real place for people to sit down. If we are going to bring money into St. Mark, we need to have that assistance, we need to have that money there to actually make those repairs. The other thing, in terms of the youth, you're talking about a boot camp. Yes, great, but where? Listen, the library has been closed for 2 years, and that was a beautiful centre for things to happen in there. And I don't know, it's now, I think the social services department have filled that building up, yet we have a high rate of youths, delinquent youths, that we could use that building to do those boot camps. I've got a 13-week program, but I haven't got a space to actually do that workshop. I'm saying to you that, look, things need to happen in St. Mark. I don't want you to be taking down all your notes and everything, and then next year, nothing happens. Right, so also, the resources we have, VECO. Now, that is an untapped market. We have tourists coming in each off the boat in the cruise ships, yeah? But Grenada's beach is like, where's the vibe? Grenada, this is why I'm here, has a beautiful vibe, music, everything. You're saying that the people are not coming because when they come on Grenada's beach, if that's the first thing that they see, one steel pan, hello, we need to have people. We've got a steel pan group here, right? We've got a steel pan group here. So we would like to see them maybe having their own building so that they can actually branch out and do something for the youth. We desperately need something happening with the youth. We need our library restored. We need new books. We need computers so that we can teach people Canva, CapCut for business, entrepreneurship. We can do all those things. We've got people in St. Mark that have got the skills to do that, but we don't have the support. I'm saying to you, please don't just be writing, and then once again, St. Mark's is neglected. We've got untapped resources. Talk about the mangoes. Oh my God, it's like a graveyard. We've got all these mangoes lying up and down, and I'm like, come on, people, we need an agro-processing factory. We need to find that building, we need to get it renovated, and we need to get the people in so that people can have work and get paid. We've got major problems in terms of if people don't have the money, how then can they go to college? Right, why can't we have people coming over here in a dedicated building? I'm talking about the resource library in Victoria for one, or maybe we need a bigger space. We've got the community centre in Coast Guard. Don't know what's happening with that. I'm saying that, look, we need to actually get the buildings up and running, find the people who are responsible enough to open up that building and manage it and get all the things done. Like we had summer camp. So I noticed that the resources that St.Mark were given, no pun intended, but look, St. George's had so many different activities. St.Mark, we only had a few. But I want to say I'm a champion for St.Mark. I want to put St.Mark on the map, but I want it to be on the map for the right things. That VECO is one thing where maybe we could have tourists coming up to actually experience that. Why wait for Carnival?
Right.
So all these kind of things, untapped resources. We're rich. We might be the poorest parish, but we're rich. But it's untapped, and it needs to be. I think St.Mark needs to have special attention because it's not like we're coming with an empty cap in hand, like give us. We're saying, look, we've got this. How can we monetize it? How can we turn it into jobs for the young people? So the VECO is one, right? Some people are not very good at education, but they've got other skills and other gifts. We need a drama school or something. We need a media program where we can teach children CapCut, AI, artificial intelligence, all the different apps. We've got people in St.Mark that can do that. We just need the help to say, right, okay, we're going to allocate this budget to do this thing, and we're going to allocate that budget to that thing. And you put it in the hands of people who are really passionate and really, really want to drive innovation.
Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Sorry about that.
No, by all means, let passion. That's why we evening, Mr. Kado. Okay. So we have another suggestion from the audience.
Okay. So here I have really what I wanted to speak on this evening. Fossil spoke about the trails already, but I believe that if we want to encourage more persons to visit the waterfalls and Mount St. Catherine, we should have a rest stop. That's important. So that persons doesn't have to try to find hustle to get back wherever they came from. So if you have a rest stop, we could include this. Also, in terms of sports, we should have covered seating for a hard court. So when we have activities there, generally persons have to stand up in the road to look at what's happening. Should have covered seating. And also the lighting for the Alston George Park should be improved. It's really not adequate. Yes? Community centers. We do not have community centers that can be utilized within our community. They are used for other purposes. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile. So we're not saying to put out, especially persons, the pre-primary school children or other things. So we need dedicated community centers which can also be used as developmental centers also. Agriculture. We need all-inclusive distribution of imported animals to our farmers. Though we always hear that animals are imported to be distributed. But I'm not hearing anyone in our place say that they get any. We need this. And also assisting our farmers with the purchasing, if not to buy it for, but assist with purchasing and installing cameras in our lands. So that could assist with the pre-larceny.
Right.
So if the farmers can see what is happening, then it can help a great bit, because this is a big, big, big issue. Yes? I also believe that IT or Wi-Fi should be provided, public Wi-Fi should be provided not just to St.Mark, but to our entire island as much as possible, maybe 95%. You see, because if we have Wi-Fi available, we do not have to depend on arriving home to do an important meeting, to do something important, because not everybody can purchase a plan. Yes? No, I have a big one here. Well, it's not so big, you know. Public-private partnership in health.
Okay.
I have seen it work in another country where our providers, especially our providers in IT, I believe every year they have to get some sort of licensing or something to operate. Yes? So what can happen? We can get them to work with the Ministry of Health in providing some of the services in our health centers in the community. So persons have to go to the hospital to get a scan. Maybe we might not want to do it everywhere, but have it in central areas, stuff like that. I've seen it work where they do scans, they do persons who do eyes and everything else. So how it works, those providers would provide the equipment and assist with the training. Of course, government would assist in terms of the duties to import. So we know, so when they bring it in, our government would and the providers also assist in the salaries, right? And they also collect monies to assist also. So I believe if we have something like this could really assist and bring health out in the community. We should not always go to St. George's. And I'm passionate about that one. After working in health service for 43 years, I'm passionate. Why should our people always have to run down to St. George's? So you go to St. George's, you have to most times pay for the service and then find $10 for the bus, $30 to eat something. So I believe this is something we can look into. It may not be for 2026, but this is something we can look into. And I believe if we do this, then health would not have this huge responsibility that they have now. I thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for your suggestion, sir. I saw another hand from the audience. Thank you again. You can come forward, sir. Keep the suggestions coming, folks. This is really lovely.
I really hope that you are not getting tired with me.
Never.
But, you know, from the layman's language, from the layman's perspective, from time to time, I've seen young men in the courthouse been sent to prison. So I'm just brainstorming the alternative sentencing. We have people with lands. Yeah? To send them to prison to eat taxpayers' money. Yeah? Why not get them involved? Because I know there is an organization here that exists with about 7 acres of land. Can it not be part of the process where you get them involved rather than go to prison? They come and learn to do practical farming as guided and provided for, and you give them a decent salary, and they become part owner of that same land. So I'm talking about the alternative sentencing. And that could be well worked out with the court. There are some probation officers or whatever, and get them involved. Don't send them to prison. Send them to work the lands. Yes?
Yes,
Pretty last scene, you catch a man stealing your stuff. I had some pet just by the river, they're gone. Yeah?
Sorry to hear that.
I don't want to be judgmental, but I have an idea. I ain't going to court to come and work the land.
Right.
Yes? And probably not work my land, you know, send me in another environment. So those from St. David's come and work with me, yeah? They will pay me more respect.
Right.
Yeah?
Fair enough.
I also see straight in my eyes without glasses. All the fruits that wasted, we need some kind of container to do refrigeration or cold room, chill room, so to speak. Yeah? So that we can store. Rather than have to buy it in a plastic bag coming from Trinidad. You know, nobody could do red mango at Salim, a guy in Coast Guard. Even we have local people here. Why can't we not get them involved? We store, so we don't have wastage.
Right.
So you create cooperatives. Yeah? Because we're thinking about employment, and we know how it is here. That's why we mix it with the chicken wings. And then we come with shrimps. Yeah? All this was geared to provide real employment for the people. Up to now, we are not given a fair explanation. I don't want to make it comical, but some time ago, one of our people who should know better said it's a little slow down. And we're laughing. But when things get back on feet, it will be different. You know, all these monies, passport was sold. And the money was raised, you know. And those people who were involved in it, they went away with the money. Those that was in charge, I'm not calling names here tonight, they say they go investigate. Yeah? I mean, come on. You standing here watching me, you think we could continue with all this mamagism? We want employment. We want the people of St.Mark to have a better life. Yes? I mean, you may find us saying it in a kind of way, but I want you to get it in your heart. Because up to now, we're not given reasonable explanation for the chicken wings. Yeah? And then we came with shrimps, claws, which cost more. I mean, come on, man. Let us see what could happen for us here now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
It's
Understood.
about time, man. Man. It's about time that the people of St.Mark get a fair share of consideration.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
What are you saying?
Thank you very much for your suggestion, sir. We appreciate it. There are two other hands and a third here, so sir at the back was waiting for a little while. By all means, come. We'll take Miss and then we'll take you.
Welcome to all.
Thank you, sir.
My biggest problem, I would like to know if you're all really serious with farming. First of all, check on them farm routes, especially Belmont. Since Emily, Ivan, who came and, I find it's time for government to really step up on farm routes. This Belmont Road, Chief, is very, very, very bad. And this road ain't giving farmers no encouragement to really do farming. And the land is very rich. Chief, for years, I wish you all could, for 2026, do something. Even though it's drainage and use some aggregate to fill up all them potholes. It is time. We always left behind. Why? Nobody to represent us? Chief, it's very sad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I definitely hear the passion in your voice. Again, we are noting and we will share with the relevant.
I'd like to talk again about the agro-processing building. I'm thinking that the Chinese are very, very skilled in that, with this agro-processing. Can we not get the Chinese embassy involved and the Chinese government to say, okay, we're going to come in to, rather than we go to China, maybe they could come to us and they could actually set up, sponsor the whole thing, set up the equipment and bring their staff in to teach those that want to learn so that they can get jobs. Because really and truly, unemployment is very high in St. Mark.
Right.
Domestic violence is very high as well. So maybe we might need to have the ministry come over and do stuff in St. Mark rather than, because again, if people don't have any money, they can't get out to St. George's. That is the problem. So unemployment, we need to work on that. We need to open up those community buildings, put the relevant people in charge that will manage that building and bring in those experts that can teach so that the young people can rise and have income and, you know, entrepreneurship. We should have a building for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Miss you also had a suggestion. By all means, keep them coming. We're loving the energy.
This wasn't my suggestion. Somebody who lives in the diaspora that's from Victoria,
Excellent.
send this, via WhatsApp. Where is our strategic plan to have 400 acres of soursop established, grow, harvest, market, process, promote, and generate a reliable revenue stream for farmers and all those participating in the soursop value chain? This was from my brother.
Please text your brother, tell him I said thank you so much for contributing to the discussion, even though he's not here physically. So we noted soursop processing, so from production all the way up to exportation. All right, so again, we're taking note, brilliant suggestions. Keep them coming. I see another hand.
Now, many of our young people went to study in Latin America, notably Mexico. And I could speak of that because my son spent over 20 years in Mexico. And almost every day when we speak, we'll always have that discussion. You see, Dad, things in Mexico, when you look at the cost, the price, sorry, it's so much cheaper than here, and they have a viable manufacturing and stuff like that. So why can't we establish a direct link to Mexico? Another thing he told me, there's a lot of filthy rich Mexicans. How they become rich, I'm not getting into this. But they love to travel. So if they know of Grenada, they'll come. But we do not have direct marketing in Mexico. Yes? So they'll go to other areas and they would not come here. So I believe that this is an area that tourism again and GIDC and whichever other agency can look into.
Marketing to the
to
Mexican, Latin American audience.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Because we have a lot of our people there and they want to eat Grenadian food again too. In New York, we have a lady here who spends almost all her life over there. I don't know if she's based in New York area, but a friend told me that he remember a long time. They said during the Revolution area, they used to have a lot of products from products in Flatbush. Now they're seen from everywhere. They cannot see a Grenadian brand. We have another brother here. There are other brothers here who can say that. We need to see Grenadian brand where our people are. So we need who in charge to start looking at the thing. And to see if we do this, then we could encourage our farmers to produce more because they know there is a viable market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. 1 second, so before we take you, I see a hand here, and he hasn't gotten the opportunity to share for the evening. Good afternoon.
I'll just take a step back. I just wanted some clarification on the second one. Deficit expected to narrow in 2026. What do you mean by rebound in 27? If the deficit is reduced, that's a plus. So what do you mean by it will rebound in 2020? Why use the word rebound? What does it mean?
Thank you for the question, and Mr. Kado from Policy is going to answer.
Right. So when I made the presentation, right, I spoke to, so there's something called the fiscal rules, right? So basically, that's a rule that kind of like limits the money, how we can spend government revenue, right? But because of Hurricane Beryl, that rule was relaxed. So we can spend more on the capital side, for example, help build houses and so on. So our expenditure, capital expenditure will increase. And it may, like, so our expenditure would be more than our revenue. So we'll end up in a deficit, but it's not a problem because the rules are relaxed. Now, to continue with that development, that same rule is also relaxed for 2026. So it is okay for us to have a deficit this year and next year. But in 2027, the rules, the fiscal rules will be reinstated, right? So that's where we have to monitor our spending with regards to revenue and expenditure. So we cannot really be at a deficit or a loss anymore. We must be at a surplus or a profit. So 1.5% of GDP, more technical stuff. So the rules will be turning back to our rules in 2027. So hence we say bounce back. So does that clarify your? Go to the mic.
Okay. I see the confusion.
Yeah.
So it's actually the economy that's rebounding in 2026,
Yeah,
not the
right,
deficit.
yeah, the economy, right.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
First, I have to apologize because I came in extremely late when the question occurred. So if what my question refers to, if my question refers to something that you have discussed before, then I apologize.
Understandable.
But the question I have, though, is related to government services for the year 2026-27. Does the government have any plans whatsoever to centralize its services for the upcoming years? For example, I'll give one example. You need a police record. You have to go to St. George's. So I'm asking the question, is there any plans to centralize? And as a matter of fact, that would cut back on the burden that the community is faced in terms of traveling. Because you pay what? $5, $10 to go, and then the police record will be. I'm not specifically, but that's as an example.
Yeah.
So is there any plans to centralize the services to the community?
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for the question. So before we...
Decentralized. I'm sorry.
So you did get it right, decentralized. So what I can see is that currently the Ministry of Finance in particular has embarked on a number of initiatives that allow you to do business without leaving or needing to leave your community. So a lot of the services that we normally would leave and go to town for, a lot of them have been digitized and they're actually available online now. So pay.gov.gd has a list of them. My.gov.gd also has a list of them, right? Things such as filing your registration for your pension, and so all of that is going online. So I can't stand here and look you in the eye and definitively say that 2026, 2027, you will not have to go to town for a police record. I can't say that. But what I can say is that we have been digitizing quite a bit. And so perhaps some of the services that you are looking to utilize right now have already been, and we would certainly welcome suggestions that can also be added to the list. I hope that helps. Thank you so much.
If I would have left here tonight and didn't see it this week, then I will owe it to my conscience when I get in my bed. And it's a public health issue.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, last week, Thursday, one of my colleagues who we had to bury in St. John's, Mr. Simon. So I myself have told myself, I am not going to die anytime soon. I have to postpone my death because there is no space available in the so-called government cemetery as I speak. So you're not writing this one now, eh?
Yes, sir.
It is imperative that we find, like everything else, not a walk in the park, but, those of us who belong to that sector, not Anglican or Catholic, we have to postpone dying for now. Yes, we cannot die, so to speak, because we don't have no place to be buried. So, I would really certainly, the police station is another stomach problem for me, all the serrated stomach. I want to see them better off. This aspect, because there were lands available, and no vision people perish. They sold it to private people. This could have been so readily available. We have houses built now, so we can ask the people to demolish and move. So we need space to be buried. We don't see in trouble already. Let us get a comfortable place to be buried.
Thank you very much for your suggestion, sir. Again, we are noting and we will pass the information on to the relevant authorities. I see another hand. Can you come forward, sir, so that especially those online can hear as well?
The finance minister mentioned in brief Project Polaris. What's the estimated cost of Project Polaris? And then after you answer that, give us a bearing on the debt of Grenada debt, and Grenada interest payments. And I just want to get that projected cost. I saw some news item, some ex-official of the Afrin Bank said they're gonna give Grenada $250 loan as a co-sponsor. I look at the story and I'm saying, well, he's an ex-chairman. Why are we making that story credible? What post does he have to make a statement? Ex-chairman. Nevertheless, I want to know what's the estimated cost of Project Polaris. And in the context of Grenada deficit and budget, I read for 2026 budget, we have to borrow $826 million. Do I have the figure right? So where is that money coming from? If the project is built, how will it be maintained, financed? Where are we getting the patients?
Can you come forward to the mic, sir, just to make sure that our folks online can hear?
I have right about Project Polaris. Everybody needs better health care. And the more I look at it, like some mirage, seriously. It reminds me of NNP with the oil. A mirage. Or the chicken farm, or the shrimp farm, a mirage. What is the estimated cost?
All right, so offhand, I don't think Mr. Kador from policy is going to be able to rattle those off his head right now, but we can certainly look into those and perhaps provide you with the information. This would be a good point for me to plug our social media and internet pages. So Generally, if you're looking for information concerning finance in Grenada, you can go to www.finance.gd. All right, we publish monthly reports. We collect data monthly on the performance of the economy, and we publish those reports. So it's all there for anyone to see. And if those of you who are on Facebook, you can go to Finance Grenada on Facebook. That's Finance Grenada. I don't see any very young people here, so I assume everybody here is on Facebook and not on Instagram. But we are on Instagram as well, same Finance Grenada. So again, the information that's concerning the economy, concerning even some of the questions that you're asking, so with relation to the debt, those would have been published in like the June fiscal outlook, for example. So we can just pop onto finance.gd and pull those down without necessarily having to wait for us. All right, thank you so much. I see a hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, one more word again. Okay, based on how I view the life with the economy and people on the earth, the strain on the life, the balance, the weight. Okay, the government is a part for itself, which is already taking care of the economy and people, which it put out enough works on the earth so the economy could get a bread on the side, you know? Because I get travel and all these things already, and it helps me in the coastal life. But then, to me, when I pay attention to it, it's a strain on the government as well, because the economy is very huge. So, if one another could put out the extra strength and help, put out the extra help, well, then the government get a chance to think by themselves to see how they could help the economy again, because the helping the help, and the help gonna grow. You know?
Yes, sir.
Because when I look at the signs on the street when I pass and I see hands shaking together, which means a hand help a hand. It could be my hand holding my hand, or it could be a friend holding a friend's hand. So it's a help and a help. So if we keep on pressuring the government, well, the government head might explode, because you have to think about the whole nation of people to help. And we pressure and we don't know where the help coming from to come to the government for the people to get the help. Well, then all we know, we just pressure the government. Oh, I have nothing to do today. The government even give me some work today. Oh, shit, I walk on the road. Miss, you have any work in the yard to do? Come and clean me yard for me. I go clean the yard. I get some money. I buy bread. I don't think about the government. The government get a chance to think again, because why? That man just go there, get a work, he buy bread. Well, I'm going to see what I can provide for him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because he get help today. You don't think about me and pressure me. So if we all come as a you know, okay, the people, the bigger heads in the land, I know they have the way of doing their own works, you know? Because the economy need to feed, and people need a bread, and we go out every day and put out the hours, and you know, the daily basis. I call it the process of life, the everyday living, you know. So the people should give the government a chance to think.
Yes, sir.
You know, that is my, you can say, suggestions or questions.
Contribution.
Contribution.
Got it.
Looking for a good word to just label the place, you know?
That's right. Thank you so much, sir. You are most certainly correct, and that is actually why we're here this evening, to hear from you, to partner with you, so that we can develop together. I see a question at the back. By all means, sir, you can come forward. That's right.
I would like to know, what is your plans for the Western? Years upon years, I'm hearing about projects, rehabilitating of the road, landslide. It is so dangerous on the Western side. I watch the Western side area as a goody track. You're driving, you have to be in fear. You're walking, you have to be in fear. When will government start to do some work on the western side? It is time. Janin did some, Consolidated Contractors did some, since after that, that done. I would like to know government plans, especially for the western side. Thank you.
Don't leave just yet, sir. Don't leave just yet. Because I do have to ask you. I do have to ask you. Can you share with us what would you like to see? Because that's going to help inform government's
Now,
plans.
even the past government started a project like the wire mesh,
Right.
some dangerous places, even on Forsyth Highway that is coming in for Victoria.
Okay.
This waterfall. Chief, this place is very dangerous. God protect us. Sometimes heavy slide. Vehicle does not be passing, and mostly after 11, 12. Even some of them corners need opening out.
So I'm hearing road expansion.
Chief,
I'm hearing
yes.
protective netting. Is there anything else we'd like to see with regards to the roads?
I will stay so long, too humorous to mention. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the suggestion again, sir. Again, the discussion has been rich. St.Mark, thank you so very much for coming out, for braving the weather, for being here this evening. We really do appreciate it. And I must bring regards from DPS policy. That's Siobhan Britton Telesford, a resident of St. Mark, a St. Mark girls to her heart. She can't be with us this evening. St. Mark's people likely know why. So she does send her regards, though. She's really enthused by what she's hearing. So thank you again for coming out, and Lady Britton sends her regards. All right, so we are approaching the end of our discussion for this evening. I do perhaps want to put one question to you, if I can, before we close. So earlier I asked you for some untapped resources, and you guys were able to fire off quite a few of those. Particularly for the folks who are a little bit older and more experienced. Are there any activities unique to St. Mark's or clubs or groups or initiatives that used to happen before that are worthy of being revived and brought back, and that may potentially have some impact on not just the parish of St. Mark, but the nation on a whole, something that perhaps we can rally around? If you can put a finger on something like that, feel free to share that. No, our folks online need to hear you, so you're going to have to come to the mic to share. Sorry for making you walk so much this evening, but it's for a good cause.
The gentleman, the brother who was just here.
Yeah.
Yeah? And he spoke about the dangers. And if you really have time, come and look. If you come in Upper Lassos, you see some big stones ready to fall down on us. So the Japanese did something for us just around the corner by Drayton Place, some baskets, as what they did in Grenada. I mean, any moment you could hear a gun, eh? Anytime rain falling and so forth. Take a walk. When you have time, come and see for yourself. Because seeing is believing. No, I didn't want to ask you that because you are not part and parcel of that, because as you is new. The Western Main Road Project. It was a mark for a special cycle some time ago, around an election cycle. You think we're getting it back soon? Don't go and pretend it tonight, eh? If you don't know, say you don't know. But that would have brought direct employment for the people on the western side. And we would have had a better network, so to speak. Because when I realize you're trying to provoke the man's thoughts and asking him to zero in.
Yeah.
But if you drive, you may not see all the dangers. Just ride it in Lansus. You see the road ready to go. If you go down lower down, you'll see it. When you have time, take a little walk. You need to exercise. I don't find you fat, but come and walk and see for yourself. Yeah? What you find? What you find?
Thank you very much. So one, I understand that I have an open invitation to return to St. Mark's whenever, because I need to walk and lose a little bit of weight and see a few things. Thank you very much for the suggestions. I cannot answer you with regards to the road project. As you said, be honest. Honestly, I can't say. But I will take you up on the offer to come back to St. Mark sometime.
Okay. Your brother wants to say something.
Yes, sir.
I think you threw out the question as to
something that can be revived. Yeah.
Some tradition that could be revived. And I think we can support we have once a month our Food Fest celebration. Food Fest once a month.
Yeah.
And I think this should be, when you look at the crowd, the number of people who attend. We have the St. Mark's Day celebration. This is something that could be enhanced, working in collaboration with the government. Mm-hmm. Some of our traditional things have been dissipated, like for example, I would like to see more assistance given to the VECO, more assistance given to the VECO groups. That's what come to mind. Oh, and our pride and joy is football. The local help enhance the local football teams.
Right.
For example, wherever you go, anywhere before, when you hear hurricane going to play out, bus loads, but that has subsided, the lack of interest. But I think if you enhance the park, someone talked about the lighting, maybe, I don't know if we can accommodate it, but maybe the fencing so at least you can get some revenue. The club should be able to get some revenue. Even the primary school, the field is too small. I know St. Mark's Secondary has to go to St. John's to have their primary school sports. So if you can enhance, we must find a way. If you can enhance the park,
right?
Because football is our main thing here. So this is what come to mind at the moment. So if we can enhance those areas, especially the traditional thing, Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. These are very good suggestions, definitely noted. And I know when you said hurricane, somebody from Paradise FC hold their heart, but thank you for calling it nonetheless. I see a hand. We have just a few more minutes. By all means, come forward.
I just want to put this on record. I was told that there was going to be a playground for the children of St. Mark. I know St. George's have a few. I know St. David's have a few. St. Mark, we don't have. And I would like that to just be recorded that, hey, don't forget us. We need to make sure that we can actually help with the children's development, coordination. We need that.
Yeah, excellent. So playground for St. Mark added to the list. Thank you so much. Closing comments?
Yeah, I'm just saying, St. Mark's is a place that processes a lot of goods, for example, we have a lot of fruits. It's a place where there's travel around the forest, and you have a lot of fruits that has been spoiling. So I wish we could have a couple factories, to provide a lot of differences so you can help the process of the life.
Right.
You know? Yeah, and a few for farm and layers, eggs, chicken, a lot of different things. It could help because I just watch the economy here and a lot of things could process and get done.
Excellent.
Yes,
sir. Thank you. All right, so any closing suggestions from the team? We are just about near completion. Thank you again so much for coming out this evening. We really appreciate, one, you braving the weather, and two, the ideas. You have been an excellent, excellent group. We are going to continue consultations. We're continuing with St. John tomorrow night. That's the 28th of August. We're going to the St. John's Anglican School for our next consultation with the people of St. John. And then we're heading to St. David on Friday. That's going to round out the week. September the 1st, that's next Monday, we go to St. George. September the 2nd, that's the Tuesday, we go to St. Andrew. And then we cap things off on Thursday with Carriacou and PT Martinique. So we say thank you from the Ministry of Finance. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you so much for your ideas. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for sharing your concerns. Thank you for being so passionate and so honest and earnest with the things that you had to say. And sir, thank you for the invitation to return to St.Mark. Like I said, I'm going to take you up on that. And the food as well. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you joining us online, thank you so much for being with us this evening. This has been Budget Consultations St.Mark. We look forward to you joining us again at our next stop in St. John. Have a good evening and good night.